The Disgaea series is a series of small unit-sized, turn-based strategy games, focused on a persistent setting of different netherworlds and the demons that dwell among them, with a tone of wacky comedy and occasional sudden, jarring shifts to horrifying tragedy. They're best known for their over-the-top nature, shown in both the special moves, which start at Sephiroth's final boss supernova attack and go up from there, and the fact that you can level your characters up to 9999, at which point you can bank those stats, take them back to level 1, and level them up to an even higher 9999, etc. They're developed by Nippon Ichi software, best known for Disgaea, Disgaea Likes, Disgaea Accessories, and Criminal Girls, and published, in PAL regions at least, by Koei, now Tecmo Koei, best known for boobs. Well, that's not wholly fair. Tecmo Koei, mostly presented as Koei Tecmo, even though that sounds weird and is just wrong, also publishes the Omega Force Muso games, the Nobunaga's Ambition series, Nioh, and the Winning Post horse racing games, which are, apparently, still a thing. None of which are nearly as memory heavy as Dead or Alive. And while Nippon Ichi's development teams do seem to find a formula and stick with it, their publishing arm has some impressive titles under their belt. NIS America has published titles from the Atelier series, the Danganronpa series, and even Persona. In some regions. Europe, mainly. Which is why the company is called NIS America. Nonetheless, they also published Way of the Samurai 4, which I love for all its ridiculousness, and for some storytelling tricks only video games can really pull off, which I might discuss another time. NIS also has a label called Nippon Ichi Indie Spirits, which localizes popular Western indie games to Japan. They brought Nidhogg and The Sexy Brutale to Japan, which is worth noting. Then again, they also brought Emily Wants to Play. Swings and roundabouts. I love Disgaea. Mostly. I certainly loved Disgaea 1 the first time I ever played it. There's a ProZD video in which he reenacts the first few days / weeks / months of a new game, going through a few everyday chores while repeating over and over again, I could be playing Pokemon right now. That was me with Disgaea 1. Every time I was not playing Disgaea, I was thinking about how much better things could be were I playing Disgaea. Honestly, I even played it a bit like Pokemon. Gotta collect every possible unlocked class! Even when you have Margins, which do everything better than anyone! Prinnies wouldn't look too out of place in Pokemon, don't you think? Since then, I will admit, the bloom has come somewhat off the rose. I can certainly recognize the flaws in the games. There's a definite formula they follow, and the definite formula means that the post-game gives you a lot of grind with very few enticing new things and surprises. You can definitely tell when they're trying to make an element work that hasn't worked in earlier games, such as the presence of intelligence-based monster weapons in Disgaea 2, having been sorely needed in Disgaea 1, and their constant fidgeting to make magia change, and monsters in general, happen. The balance of wackiness and seriousness is, as I believe I said earlier, occasionally jarring. And a lot of these childish-looking characters should really put more clothes on. I am looking at you, Etna, not you, Flon, you're fine. But despite that, I do still love Disgaea. I love Disgaea and its many spin-offs. I even love Phantom Brave. And nobody loved Phantom Brave. The noise you're hearing is a great many people showing up in the comments to say that they loved Phantom Brave. Or it would be if I had any viewers. But since I don't, it isn't. I can say whatever I want. Pineapple on pizza is not only great, it should be mandatory. Indeed, while fiddling about getting information and footage for this video, I realized that A, I have a lot to say about Phantom Brave, and should do a series about that after this one, despite the imperfection of my PC video card and software, and B, that I'd played 20 hours of a new save. Where does the time go? So I decided that I would set up, knuckle down, focus sideways, and do other things in other directions, and do a let's play, of sorts, of Disgaea 5. Disgaea 5, because that's the one I have on the PS4. And at the time of making the decision, I was pretty sure the PS4 was the only thing I could reliably capture anything from. Now I don't have a microphone set up with the PS4, so I won't so much be doing a standard Let's Play of talking while playing. This will more be a collection of playtime, with me talking over it after the fact. But since we should all turn our greatest weakness into our greatest strength, let me point out that I believe this might actually be considerably more interesting than if I was just babbling whatever I could think of at the time. This may be the new blockbuster move that YouTube gamers need to focus our image on innovation and away from racism and sexual harassment. We could call it a Let's Have Played, with compliments to Dr. Dan Street Mentioner. So without further semi-obscure references to not at all obscure British SF humour classics, let's have played Disgaea 5. I am leaving this loading screen in because it is adorable. Here, I'm changing the language to Japanese not because the English track is bad, it's very good, but so I can talk over it and it doesn't sound like two people talking English over each other, so that I'm interrupting Seraphina or whatever. Oh, story. Shut up and listen. Now saying I'm turning it to Japanese so that I can talk over it, and then saying, ooh, shut up and listen to the story, might sound contradictory to you. But there you go. You know, lots of wars have no heroes. Because, you know, one person can't do a huge amount in a war. Although every RPG bit in my brain says no to that. I do love the little pretty heads in the mushroom clouds. Oh, look at this. I'm setting... Yeah, I've set it to auto, so now it's just gonna read itself. Kind of a Power Rangers Megazord thing there of, why didn't you do that to start with? This is one of the sad things about having the Japanese voice track, is that I don't know what the Prinny's verbal tick is in Japanese. And it's a shame not to hear them saying, dude, dude. Your soft squishy backs. Now that one over there, do you think he's resting the tea tray on his head more than he's using his arms for it? Is he just using his arms for balance, his flippers? That's what I'd do. Balor no Chikara, which is presumably Bela gaze. I like the Japanese in the English, not the Japanese in the English, what am I talking about? I'll leave that alone. You know what I meant. Here's Killia's one shtick. He eats in combat. Which, fine. I wonder if it's funnier in Japanese. But, you know, it's meant to just say, hey, he's so unaffected. Or maybe it means something else. I haven't finished the game. He cannot do this easily when you actually get control of him. It's all a big lie. You know, it's all cutscene powers. Heart. And credits! Well, opening scene anyway. So this may be a reference to the bit in the first Disgaea where Laharl single-handedly destroys 2 million of the human ships. I don't know if it is or not, but I like that scene, so I'm going to say it is. Disgaea 5! Alliance of Vengeance! And this, I think this is Killia's entire backstory. There's a girlfriend, oh no, she's burned up, Void Dark. And that's it. See, there she is again. I don't know, maybe we'll find out more. Probably Void Dark didn't kill her, but Void Dark was there when she died, and you know. But there's going to be vengeance. This is the prelude to it. I've been playing Disgaea 4 to kind of, you know, tamp my Disgaea needs down while not pushing forward in Disgaea 5. Oh, I'm going to take a moment to make fun of Seraphina here. You know, you can just say they'll be like stone. You don't have to say how it became stone. Anyway, making fun of Seraphina done for now. And in Disgaea 4, these, I like that line. These sprites have some really smooth and fluid animations. They do the same sprite talking, but they have really smooth and fluid animations as well. I don't know why they're not doing it here. It's a bit of a shame. I do like Disgaea's focus on sprite art. I think it gives it a good aesthetic. I mean, I would make fun of Seraphina's breasts everywhere outfit, but to be fair, we can see the majority of Killia's pelvis, so, you know, fairly even-handed nakedness. It's always nice to have a home base, especially a home base with a bunch of penguins in it. Yeah, push him in the portal. I kind of like that because, you know, the standard Japanese Ojo laugh is the oh ho 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 ho. Kind of like that Seraphina's is quicker, more of a giggle. So here we are. And so I let them talk for a bit. Just to get it so that you can all read it, because I am nothing if not devoted to my viewers. I mean, how would you go without seeing this? That there's a hospital, and an equipment shop, and an item shop. You couldn't just assume that. You have to see it, or your entire life will be ruined. Ruined! Completely ruined. DLC. The Disgaea games, like many Koei games, have a lot of DLC. And I buy a bunch of it because I'm a soft touch. Anyway, in between chapters you get these little talky bits, which are even less animated than the sprites before. They're just talking heads. Hehe. Because she shot him. In the original draft, I suppose, of this, I complained a lot about Killia's doing different things in cutscenes, and I mentioned that he can't just shake off a gunshot in gameplay. And here he's not just shaking off a gunshot. He's actually walking around going, I have a gunshot and it's sad. I also mistook what 3 worlds were and thought, oh no, which netherworlds are they? Like, gorgeous, scorching flame and something else? It's been made very clear in the Disgaea series that the 3 worlds are Celestia, the netherworld, and the human world. So, you would have never known that I was really stupid unless I responded it here, so responded it. So yeah, now you know. Now you know that I am dumb. I kind of think that, you know, okay, you've just talked to Seraphina. Hey, Seraphina wants to talk to you. I kind of think maybe you could bump that together. Just make it one conversation. But I suppose it's different topics, and later on you can re-watch them in the data shop. So maybe you just want to watch her remind you to save. Because who wouldn't want to be reminded that she reminded you to save? I know I would. You'll note that I put on autosave at the start because it's sensible. Now, you might have noticed that things have suddenly gone very fast. My original plan was to have a tour of the whole base and it'd be fun. It was not fun, it was kind of boring. So I sped it up. Glasses do not boost your jumping. I mean, they don't, but... Okay, here I was going to do a hilarious joke where I ignore all the treasure and then at the end of the episode I go back and get all the treasure, but I repeatedly ignore it. At the end of the recording, I've completed the first chapter. And after you complete the first chapter, all the treasure goes away. So I didn't get any of it. And now that's the joke. The joke is that I didn't get any of the treasure. I'm not going to use any of the DLC characters that I have, which are mostly just printies. I haven't bought any of the others. But I am going to unlock the DLC classes, because I like the Sorcerer, I like the Celestial Host. There's that sketch shot of I was telling you about. And there's me skipping some treasure. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. If you do want to read any of this, should be... yeah, this is where I forgot what the jump button was. When I opened the menu, that was me trying to jump. Yeah, pretty massage. Here's some ships. They're pretty good ships. Good old ships. Uh-oh. And here we have history's greatest monster. Even more so than the executive who cancelled your favourite show. This thief gives you access to the item world, which has derailed and destroyed 99% of failed Disgaea runs. You go in thinking, I'm just going to get one sword a little bit better, but then you have to farm gladiators, and one of your classes is playing a little anemic in this area, so you have to boost that class, and you hate one geo effect, and you gentsy out and back for it, at which point you realise that it's 5 hours later, and you hate Disgaea and yourself. So for this run, I've made myself a promise, or rather a shackle. During Chapter X of the game, I will visit a maximum of X items in the item world and run a maximum of X times 10 floors in them. This will mean I'll have to buy a great many items, and I will not have hero weapons built up to make mints of the opposing units while I laugh and laugh, but it will hopefully also mean I finish the damn game. Right? Back to the tour. There's Miva. She's at least in Disgaea 4. I don't know if she's in the earlier ones. Yep, so some more interactions between the two of them. See, because he's got a thing, he's got some vengeance that he's preluding to. He's preluding to some vengeance. Ichi, on the other hand, is not preluding to some vengeance, and is just shouting at him for eating curry, which, fine. Curry is a fairly important theme of this game. Vengeance, war, curry. And I talked over another of her brilliant small words together. I know su. I just let that play out. It's not new, it's, you know, it's a fairly classic Japanese anime style comedy, but I like it. I like it. This is another bit that I was complaining about in the original draft of sorts. This is supposedly her using Balo no Chikara, or Bela Gaze. And Killia just shrugs it off. And I'd said, oh, but he doesn't just shrug off overloads in regular gameplay. But apparently he is, in fact, 100% resistant to at least Bela Gaze, and possibly just Charm. So I like when mechanics and story fit together. I find that fun. I find that that's one of my favourite things in games. Because I definitely didn't just use my overload on you 3 times in a row. That she definitely couldn't do in the game. You'd have to build up your revenge gauge first. Because it's a theme of the game, revenge and curry. It's pretty death metal. Plants absorb blood to grow. Yeah, I decided, oh, I'm just going to tease myself and not go in there. I realised that I hadn't actually bought equipment for my team. And no, the treasure tease. Oh, I'm going to get the treasure later. No, I'm not. I'm not going to get the treasure later. I'm never going to get that treasure. What I'm actually doing is looking... Each of the main characters, the story characters, has 2 weapons. 2 weapon types they're particularly prominent with. With Killia, you see it's fist and sword. With Seraphina, it's guns and bows, I think. Though I did get her a different weapon instead. The game expects you to go through with the weapons they've already equipped. And that tends to work pretty well for you. But especially if you've played the game a few times, which, again, I haven't finished this one, but it's something I did with Disgaea 1, it can be fun to give them the other weapon they're good with. So for Killia, instead of his fist-type weapon, I'm giving him a better sword. While keeping the fists in reserve in case. Yeah, give him some decent items. It's overkill for the first map. The first map is simple. Okay, so yeah, I gave her a bow, which she's good with, and an axe, which she's not as good with, but, you know, kind of cool to have the princess type just running around with a giant bat. That's fun to me. Yeah, I've got the news tracker up the top, being threatening. So back to Blood Parch and its heavy metal blood pants. Pants. They're like pants, but longer. Nice flipping. You don't need to flip going places, but it's, you know. What are you doing, Seraphina? I took your guns away. You have a bow and a baseball bat. Seems a fairly sensible strategy in war. I like that she does apologize. I like Seraphina. I like Seraphina, and I like that she does apologize. She's, you know, oh no, I'm sorry. It's just that you're scum. To be fair, even if they were at their full status as the aristocracy of Bloodparch, Seraphina would still probably consider them scum. They're from a dumb netherworld. They're the aristocracy of a dumb netherworld, and therefore, they are dumb. But yes, Bloodparch has of course been just chosen as a lost battlefield, and as a result, it's not doing so good. I've got a bit of money, a bit of health. But I spent most of it on equipment. You'll have to smash our heads like ripe melons. This is a favourite strategy of Seraphina. As I said, I like her, and this is her doing a let's you and him fight. Which Killia is not having. Not even a bit. She's a ridiculous person. I like that she's a ridiculous person. I mean, Killia has some cracks in his I'm too cool for anything facade, but if Seraphina wasn't around being ridiculous alongside him, I think I'd find it difficult to take. He'd wear me down. Like I said, I've been playing Disgaea 4 at the same time, and I like Killia, but Valvatoris from 4 is just so much more fun than Killia is. So it's going to be a refreshing thing when Red Magnus shows up, he said, spoiling the rest of the episode. How dare I? How dare I? In the first game, in the tutorial, Laharl says that it was very nice of the enemies to wait while they had their tutorial off in the distance. You know, as they said, they are aristocracy. They know what's polite. You don't attack while other people are having a cutscene. That would just be rude. Whenever it gets into the battle stance and starts being animated, that's when the battle starts. Or, it's when they ask if you want to see the basics of battle, and I say no, but I edit out that I said no, and just ignore the basics of battle altogether. Oh, I didn't. I left in that I said no. Okay, now, this doesn't go as smoothly as it otherwise might, simply because it is made for you to have Seraphina with her bow, and the maid, what's her name, Stephanie? Tsuruya. Very close. So Seraphina with her gun, not her bow, and Tsuruya with her bow. And so it's meant to be very, you know, ranged. You deal with them very quickly. So instead of being able to do that, I just had Killia walk over there and attack a cactus. I guess Killia hates cacti. Yeah, take that cactus. That's what you get for being a cactus around Killia. Now, helpfully, they do all come up into murder range. Yeah, go Prinny. And Killia does indeed murder one of them. Good for him. Which does also mean that he's not in range for another fight. That's the benefit of the maid class. They can use an item and act on the same turn. And that's pretty cool. Raoul's not going to survive long enough for Tsuruya to kill him. But, She made it easier for the penguins to kill Rugal, which I hear is very difficult in the Rugal Bernstein game, and Killia goes off and murders a cactus. I like the team attacks. They do get old eventually, but I like their ridiculous over-the-top nature, and that's what you get for being a cactus. I mentioned earlier that I can't really complain about Seraphina's boobily-boobing all over everything because Killia is very plainly not wearing boxers nor briefs. But there are occasional Disgaea moments where they're like, hey, the Magic Knight has breasts. Have you noticed the Magic Knight has breasts? All these characters are attacking the Magic Knight because she has breasts. And the bottom is the Armor Knight, who also has breasts. The Armor Knight doesn't have breasts in earlier games. He's got armor. This is new to Disgaea 5, that the first time you get to the top of the stage's bonus list, it gives you a thing. Which in this case is Super Jump. Now, at this stage it's incredibly difficult to fill the bonus gauge because there's nothing you can actually do. So you want to use cheats, little fillers from the item world. Items you can use to fill the bonus gauge in and of themselves. I mean, you can also attack cacti, but I did that and we only got to bonus stage 1. Occasionally I forget that you have to press the button to advance, so it sort of holds there for a while. This is also new. It's kind of cool just to get a little bit of bonus XP. EXP. The more it makes it easier to get EXP for doing things other than killing enemies, the more viable more classes become. So, that's been long enough that I figure we should about wrap it up now. We'll do the rest of the levels in Chapter 1 in another video. But for now, we'll leave you on the tempting sight of the recruiter and his billowing poncho in the no wind. And you can, indeed, never have too many servants. So that was the first episode of Let's Have Played Disgaea 5. If you enjoyed it, I believe the traditional thing to do is to like, comment, and subscribe. So if you want to do that, go right ahead. And look forward to the next one, which should be coming any moment now. Just you wait. Just you wait. Or if you like, comment, and subscribe, you don't have to wait because it'll inform you if you press the bell by it.